Hello and welcome to the Student StarCraft AI Tournament broadcast. This is Nightcat. I will be your host for today. We've got a number of recommended games that we will be working through here, the first of which has us spawning on Circuit Breakers. We have Zerg spawning as the blue Zerg down at the bottom left. And up at the top right, we have Insanity Bot spawning as the orange Terran. Looks like we have a very quick scout going out for Insanity Bot. I don't think it's going to be, rather that it is indicative of any sort of cheese play. I think it's just an early scout, which some AIs do. They just scout very early in order to find the opponent. Here we have a supply depot going down, as well as the barracks for Insanity Bot. Let's go ahead and get our production tab up here. Meanwhile, we've got the natural hatchery coming down, so it's 12 hatchery for Zerg. Interesting that the Overlords did not go out to scout anywhere, and also this one was just kind of around. Looks like they're heading up now towards this natural, probably just being used as detectors there. Spawning pool coming down, as well as the extractor now for Zerg. We've got, we actually have the gas steal there by Zerg, very cute. Insanity Bot, they're working to clean that up with a couple of workers, and a Marine does clear that up, and we'll go ahead and proceed with its build. Interestingly, not taking the gas back right away. Natural command center going down, so we have the 1 Rax expand now going up to 2 barracks. Lair on the way for Zerg, along with a Hydralisk Den, so we'll probably be seeing some sort of lurker play out of Zerg here. 2-patch lurker opening. See if it wants to be... Usually if you go like a lurker opening, you are aiming to be aggressive with the lurkers. Either with setting up like a lurker contain outside of the natural, that Terran is then going to have to work to bust before, say, like you get to defilers and such, or you could do something like just run in with the lurkers and try and break the natural, which, if the Terran sets up their defenses right, may not work. There's also the slow lurker drop that you can do, but there is no Overlord on the way here. There's no Overlord speed. I don't see any Overlord drop tech, so... or transport tech, so yeah, it looks like it's just going to be Hydralisks. We have a Spire on the way as well, so that will allow Zerg here to get some Scourge if they need to, so say when vessels pop out for the Terran player here. Academy just finishing up turrets on the way, so turrets will be done before any lurkers can happen, but there's no turrets in the natural right now. Turret going down pretty far back. There is the Comsat stations going down now. First lurker on the way. Having to get an Overlord there, looks like maybe... no, not supply blocked, but getting that Overlord in advance, and just the one so far. It's looking pretty gas-starved, actually. It is getting mining from the 1 extractor, and that should be enough. Oh, it started to get, like, circling speed, and I think that's air carapace. Yeah, that has to be air carapace, because there's no evolution chamber, so a little bit of mismanagement with the gas. Could have got these 4... Hydralisks into lurkers right away, I think, if gas had not been spent on those upgrades. So Zergling runs in just to check that natural, sees the bunker, sees the group of Marine medics, so not going to push in with these lurkers just yet. Going to go ahead and sit back and wait. And it's not really a contain per se, but I mean, they are, on this bridge, so this direct path is sort of being blocked by them, and this is a nice little choke for them to use, so not terrible positioning, but this mineral only over here is pretty open and could be taken by Insanity Bot relatively easily. Now it looks like there is going to be an attempt to move in here, and their scan goes down. Oh, big damage on the Marines there, without them not spreading. The lurkers get cleaned up, but the Marine count was pretty much reset. Now we had a couple Mutalisks rather coming in, but just 2 of them by themselves. The bunker able to repel that all on its own. Science facility started for Insanity Bot, so vessels will be on the way, and so far we're just seeing pure M&M, a second engineering bay coming down now, so going to be able to get those upgrades. Looks like an SK style play here, yeah, and the factor's actually lifted and over the command center for Insanity Bot. Pretty funny to see. Oof. Big damage on the bridge there. Yeah, this is going to be, I think, tough for Insanity Bot to break through this. There's actually 3 there, and there's an Overlord kind of hanging over top of the Lurkers. Now the Lurker's trying to push forward here onto this bunker again. SV's going to come and repair. Out of scans and spent them all on the bridge, but now a vessel is out and so able to pop those 3 Lurkers and hold defense. Back home, Zur, getting some macro hatcheries. Looks like a drone coming out here to take this mineral only. That is what is happening. So third base starting to come up now. Ghosts out actually for Insanity Bot. No third base though, so no. Oh, went ahead and I see. I don't think there was a comsat up here, and I did not notice until just now when there is a blinking nuclear silo. So we will potentially see some nukes go flying here. Oof, that goes getting picked off there by the Lurker field here. And the Bio of Insanity Bot is getting shredded pretty heavily, but Zur just keeps kind of poking forward with these 4 Lurkers, which the Terran player here is more than able to handle. Pulling these back a little bit. I like the positioning of these. Just nice and safe above the M&M block here. And Radiate going down on the one of the Lurkers, but they fall very quickly. And now Insanity Bot trying to push forward with just 2 Marines and 3 medics and it's 2 vessels. A little bit dangerous to put the vessels that far forward with just 2 Marines defending. And here come the rest of the Bio though, so going to be able to keep these vessels alive. Realistic's diving on the Marines, but the Marines and the medics able to push them back a bit. A Lurker hatches and irradiates. The like 1 frame of irradiate cloud was there because was burrowing mid-irradiate. Another Lurker goes down here. More Bio coming out here. A optical flare gets launched into the eyes of probably one of the Overlords. Unfortunately, with OpenBW replay viewer, we cannot see which one that was. However, more irradiates going down. I like this. I'm not sure. Ooh, and now a nuclear missile being launched, but this might be the blinded Overlord, I think. Oh. And it comes down and lands very nice. The Sunkens fall. The Lurker takes some heavy damage. Another flare goes down on a Overlord. Now Insanity Bot going to just march into this natural. The panic creep colonies being thrown down and attempting to morph into the sunken colonies. Lurker on the ramp, but does not get to burrow in time. There's just too much damage output here for Terran, and gonna go ahead and march into the main here and clean this up. Very nice play there by Insanity Bot. I think it feels like that Overlord that was up at the front should have been able to see that ghost, and then the Lurker should have been able to clean it up, but I think that might have been the blinded Overlord. And Zur might not consider, well, is this Overlord blinded or can it actually detect? And another blind going off on an Overlord there. And then it'll just be a minute before Insanity Bot can find this last base. It looks like goes ahead and finds it and actually launches another nuke on the Sunken. Let's go ahead and watch this in the usual speed. Takes out the Sunkens and then tries to panic make the creeps, but can't do so, and Insanity Bot will take it with a nuke count of 2. Our second game today, we are again on Circuit Breakers. We have Monster spawning as the red Zerg down in the bottom right. And over in the bottom left, we have Purple Wave spawning once again as the purple Protoss. So Zerg again, but we have a PVZ this time instead of a TVZ. Fortunately, that means there will be no nukes, but Protoss has other fun stuff that it can do as well. Here we see Monster is sending off its Overlord up to the top position, which is the position you would want to send your Overlord to because there is a natural there that you will bump into before the main, so you can check if there is any like fast expand going on. If you do see something here that would indicate that your opponent is up in that main, you can actually park your Overlord over the cliff here somewhere safe from ranged attacks, though usually with Zerg against Protoss, you will dump that Overlord into the main to watch what they are doing until something is able to take that Overlord out. Cross scout with the drone, And the probe is going to scout the top left. So Monster will discover pretty quickly where Purple Wave is, but if Purple Wave goes clockwise, then it will be a bit before Purple Wave, and it looks like they are going clockwise. Will find Monster's position, although you do find it by process of elimination. The Zerglings are out. Looks like it is a 2-gate from Purple Wave. The Zealots, second and third Zealot, are on the way. The first one is out. Though it looks at the drone, watches it go by, and then comes out. Just misses the Zergling, but there is the second Zealot there, which is actually chasing, and the third Zealot, which is chasing the drone. Drone actually gets picked off by a probe, and then the Zealots are able to turn their attention to this one Zergling that was causing some problems. That Overlord from the top right being recalled back to the Zerg base. We have our Cybernetics core on the way. We have a Den. Looks like a Sunken just finished up, so it looks like we're getting 2 base play out of Monster. We have the Zealots coming in here. Looks like they were considering being aggressive. They do gather up, take a shot from the Sunken, back off. Oh, they're taking some shots on that shield. Not good to be dancing in and out of range of that Sunken colony there. And here we have the Zergling. Oof. That is some damage being put on the shields. Not taking any health damage though, so it will regenerate over time, but that still is a pretty big deal to take those shots from that Sunken like that. We have the first Dragoon out now that Zergling does get picked off before it can quite scout. We have Corsairs coming out of one base here. The Cybernetics core, the Citadel of Adun is on the way for Purple Wave. Looks like we have a macro hatchery coming down for Monster. So this is just, 2 hatchery plays so far, and Purple Wave has quite the scary army, but these 2 Sunken should keep them relatively safe, along with the Zerglings and the Hydra here. Corsair looking to try and score these Overlords, but the Hydralisks are there to keep that back, so they should be safe for now. Monster does need to be a little bit careful that they don't produce any Overlords down at the main hatchery, because there's nothing really there to keep them back. I mean, there's the occasional hatching Hydralisk, but that could be some trouble. The Zerg army venturing out a little bit here. Zergling does get picked off. Second Corsair is out now. Templar Archives finishing up for Purple Wave. We'll see if Storm get researched. Zerg army pushing the Protoss back though. Protoss doesn't really want to engage with these Hydralisks, it looks like. And we don't have Storm started yet. We have Dark Templar actually on the way, which is a good choice, as I keep hitting the wrong buttons here, but Overlord speed is not researched yet, so the Dark Templar will be able to deal some heavy damage to these Hydralisks, or force them to retreat, and they see that the Dark Templar is there and will immediately retreat to the safety of detection. So very nice there from Purple Wave. We've got High Templar on the way, but I don't see Storm just yet, so it looks like it's going to be to an Archon now. I've talked about it before. The AIs are very good at Storm dodging, so Purple Wave may just not be investing in Storm because of that. It's not quite as effective of a splash dealing spell as it is when it's being used against a human. Also, I think this might... Oh, wait a second. I remember now. This is still the bugged version of Purple Wave where it wasn't able to get upgrades. So that's why we're not seeing, like, Storm be researched or anything. That's right. So... Because, yeah, we don't even have Dragoon range, which is going to hurt a lot. So Purple Wave is, like, pulling its punches or, like, playing with a handicap, you could say, in this game, giving Monster a fighting chance. Because if it was getting upgrades, I feel like this would be quite a scary build here. Now, the Slow Overlord able to pick off that Dark Templar. Now Zerg going to be pushing this back. Nice production tap, though, out of Purple Wave. Another Corsair on the way. I think the 2 original ones are still out. Looks like... Okay, there's just a burrowed unit there watching, a burrowed unit up there watching. So we have the 2 army balls here. Nice concave sort of, yeah, I guess it's concave forming for Purple Wave, and the Purple Wave diving in, but yeah, the Protoss army is just not going to, I think, without splash damage, it's really hard to compete with the Protoss army. There's a lot of retreating as well, where the army units are just taking a lot of damage, and so... Yeah, like that Zealot, those Dragoons, they were not going to be able to be survived. They would have been, or to survive that, they would have been better off just engaging, so... I have a feeling this game is ultimately going to go for Monster, just given the fact that You know, like Purple Wave can't get any upgrades or research in this particular match, but even still, pretty good performance. They're holding Monster back for as long as it did. I mean, it's got a few more macro hatches. It's there's the Spore Colony, which is kind of hiding thanks to the Overlord there from human eyes. But yeah, the nice little concave across the bridge here being set up by Monster. Would be really cool to see an AI recognize, okay, I can't really make it across these bridges, like this is a really bad way for me to try and engage. I'd love to see an AI just kind of sort of come around this way and then come from down the ramp and engage. But at the same time, this is like a nice concave as well for Purple Wave. It's not very easy for Monster to push across this either. Monster is taking this top right base here, it looks like, getting some Sunkens and some Spore Colonies probably to defend that, going ahead and getting that third gas set up as well. So going ahead and taking that other main allows it to go ahead and take this natural here. This is also like the furthest away location from Purple Wave, so it's going to be a little tricky for Purple Wave to contest that, especially when it's stuck on its side of this double bridge here. Purple Wave not getting in a third base either. Not quite able to take this mineral only yet. This Purple Wave is spending all of its resources on army units right now, just trying to stay alive. We've got a Scourge Tornado happening here above the Hydralisks, which just keeps the Scourge moving so they don't have to accelerate when they go to engage with an air unit. So very clever use of APM there by Monster. And now we're just kind of waiting for Monster to decide to dive in here. There's a small dive in, but going to go ahead and back off as, I mean, even unupgraded, this is a rather large army, right? 110 army supply for Purple Wave. Dark Templars doing some damage while they can, but now the Overlords do get into position, and now Purple Wave, though, with that, is able to make it across the bridge here, so we might have a battle here across the middle. We really need a commitment, though, from very nice arc. This is not the time you want to commit as Purple Wave. You kind of want to set up your own arc, and then once it does get its own arc set up, Monster just kind of backs off, so very nice army control here. Both sides kind of just trying to vie for that better positioning. Unfortunately for Purple Wave, a chunk of its army wants to sort of, well, okay, it is trying to take a third up here so that they can get this gas base, but yeah, it's just going to get overrun here. I mean, it's rather Zealot heavy, and the Zealots just do not want to engage with these Hydralisks. The Hydralisks are pretty capable of kiting. Overlords, or sorry, Observers rather, getting picked off by the Hydralisks. There's nothing really to worry about with that, though, as there is no, like, there are no lurkers out. Some Nidus Canals, it looks like Ultralisk Cavern on the way for Monster. Now the top left being taken, so Monster preferring to take the mains here, as well as the naturals. Now we have some Hydralisks dashing in to the natural here, which is going to be a bit of a problem for Purple Wave. Detection gets here just in time as the Dark Templars pop. Observers get taken out. So I think Monster has this one pretty handily. I'm really looking forward to when we get the Purple Wave update that will resolve the issue with the upgrades and the research. And, I mean, heck, that might even be there. This game is a bit old, so it might be on the ladder already, but, I mean, it's still looking rather impressive. It's just that an unupgraded Protoss army with 0 abilities can't really compete with a large Zerg army that has upgrades and research, so I mean, those things are important, and there is a reason why even in human play, with human versus human, you know, if you don't get your upgrades, you tend to get smashed, right? If you're assuming your opponent gets those upgrades. So, very fun little game here on Circuit Breakers. We'll go ahead and speed up the cleanup here of the final buildings, and so that way we can get into our third game. And for our next game, we have a ranked Schnell game where we have our anonymous AI spotting as the purple Terran over on the right-hand side of Python, and our human player, who has quite the cheeky name that I've gone ahead and censored out here with our link to the Patreon for SSCAIT. So go ahead and check that out if you feel so inclined. We have our human player spawning as the white Protoss down at the bottom of Python here. So, Don't know which AI this is, though I have my suspicions that it is Crazio. Looks like they are going for the high ground. AI is going for the high ground wall here on Python, which I think on Python is a pretty decent choice because this is just crazy wide. You have the human player here going for one gateway and then gas, so probably going to go for a core after that, or expansion, but there's the core. As the gas finishes and the probes are placed on gas, the probe gets in as this lift's actually let an SCV in, but then the probe is quickly cleaned up. So not too much scouting information gleaned, but a little bit is. Gas has not actually been taken yet. And there it goes. So wall is up, a bunker is up, and now the refinery is started. A second gateway on the way for our Protoss player. Scout getting in for the AI here, taking a look, scouting around the edge there. First Dragoon about the pop will chase that SCV out of there down into the natural, and then the SCV will just kind of keep skating around to try and see if it can get in there or not. Meanwhile, back home for the Terran player here, we've got a factory and a depot coming down. Now we've got a Citadel of a Dune, so it looks like we'll probably see some Dark Templar play. The Protoss player coming out here with the Dragoons to check to see if a natural is being taken or what the Terran player is doing. And now something that is a bit old school that could be, is a possibility we can see is not, is actually getting after the wall. Siege mode, siege tanks, and getting the command center on the high ground, and then pushing Protoss out of the natural with your siege tanks and floating the command center down. That's still a possibility, so these Dragoons are going to sit out, but we can see that it's not the case here. The Templar Archives finishes, and immediately 2 Dark Templar are started. The Academy is about to finish. Engineering Bay is on the way. It's going to be cutting it a little close here. We'll see if the AI is able to get detection up in time or not. Engineering Bay finishes. Turret is started, and looks like that turret will finish pretty much just in time. The wall lifts. Ooh, that forward turret, though. Now that forward turret is going to get picked off from there. Scan is ready, though. And the Dark Templar almost stayed alive, but goes back up the ramp and gets lost. The first 2 Dark Templar are defeated. Now another turret being started here. Looks like the AI wants to push and take this natural. So going to slowly try to move this tank forward to sort of push these Dragoons back, sieging with the tanks, or with the Dragoons just in range now. Going to go ahead and take out that turret so that way the Dark Templar can cause some more problems. But there was energy for a scan, and Dark Templar very quickly cleaned out. Lanes being mined, mines being laid, so gonna have some protection there from the DTs as well. Engineering Bay got a little bit ahead, but able to be saved, not quite burning down yet. Tank slowly pushing the Protoss player back. Meanwhile, the Protoss player back home, keeping the Goons back to make sure that Vultures can't just run in. We're also taking the island base here down bottom left, so we'll see if the AI is able to handle that base being taken or not. More mines being laid on the front. Good to see the tanks continuing to siege and unsiege. And now, actually, the Protoss player going ahead and taking this top right island base as well, which I think is a bit of a sign of, like, trying to take advantage of what the AI's strengths and weaknesses are, because a lot of AIs won't actually bother with these island bases at all, regardless of if you take them or not. Or, well, I mean, they might bother with air units, but it depends on if they get those air units or not. Another factory coming down, so we'll be up to 3 factories here for the Terran player. Actually, 4. Let's see, there are 2 armories spinning, but I don't see a starport yet. Looks like the barracks being replaced, or a second barracks being built. Nice little arc of Dragoons here with vision. Oh, and a shot going off. Inching back just a little bit. Human player recognizing too that the tanks are going to be sieging just with the Dragoons just on the edge of range, so you only need to just inch back just the tiniest bit usually to get out of range. Another shot goes down, another little inch back, really making the AI fight for the gains here. Will we see... Okay, no, we're getting an orbital tribunal. I was thinking maybe we would see carrier play or something like that. Looks like the mineral only being taken here by the AI. Another dragoon falls. So really just trying to buy as much time as possible with this really slow inch backwards. I'm really liking that from the human player. Getting this top right base taken. This bottom left has been a bit populated here. Another Stargates. More Stargates going down, so there's probably going to be a carrier transition at some point. Unless they're just going to go mass arbiter, which would be kind of weird, but, like, I guess could... Rogue Recall is being researched. But now it looks like the AI is starting to break out. So I don't think Recall is really the ability that the human player is going to want here. There's a good amount of tanks. There's really like no zealots in this army for Protoss, so it feels like Terran's going to be able to slowly inch their way out. I'd like to see them take another base behind this too, if they could, like over here. Go ahead and take gas base. But they are now pushing the Protoss player all the way back to their natural. Recall is finished, I believe, or just about to finish. Ah, there you go. Carriers are started. Where is the fleet beacon? Oh, it's under the production tab there, so a little bit hidden. That's why I was having trouble finding it. So carriers are started, which I think will give the player here a moment's reprieve once they get revealed, but the AI is pretty good, if this is Crazio, which it very much looks like, is really good at producing Goliaths to deal with carriers. So this natural now falling, but Protoss will remain on 3 bases, so it's not all for naught. And actually, okay, this bottom right base got taken instead of the other natural, which actually is a smart move because this is the more protected base. Protoss had done the more normal expand over here and expand over here. There's a shuttle here. I wonder where that's going to put out. Terran's trying to make its way up to the main here. She's going ahead and shelling into the main. This gateway is probably going to fall. The shuttle might just be... Oh, those carriers are actually going to hit the main right away, so the AI might not have time to really get into a bunch of vultures here, just stuck dancing on top of each other as the main slowly falls. There are 4 carriers out right now for the human player, and I mean, they have the resource to get more. A nice stasis there on the ramp, going to block that ramp, so there's just the vultures up here, which will slow down the destruction of the main and allow a few more minerals and gas to be mined from here. Another stasis going down, actually bugging units out. I think I have seen before units bug from the low ground onto high ground. In this type of situation, even more stasis going down, so stasis just being used to delay as much as possible, but now that actually causes the ramp here to open up a little bit. A tank manages to make its way up there. More turrets being thrown down. Oh, and the carrier's starting to hit the base here. Oh no, and the AI is at 200. It can't really produce anti-air at the moment. Now the armory is being focus fired down. And full Goliath production we can see starting up here for the AI. The other main is being taken, and so these 4 carriers, the armory goes down. The AI needs to replace it. It is rebuilding it somewhere, hopefully far away from those carriers, but now the main is being taken out. And as these vultures die, it's just going to allow more and more Goliath production. The main is being hit and the factories are going down, but I think there might just be too much for the AI. Spread across the map now, so the main being taken out here. And the human player is just going to be stuck on these corner bases, but the corner bases have a fair amount of resources, and you can get a fair amount of carriers with them. The human player trying to figure out what to hit here, going after that starport. And will take the starport out. Now the question is, will the AI get the numbers that it needs to actually challenge these carriers? 1 carrier goes down. There's a dropship here attempting to hit this island. There's like 4 carriers down here protecting, and then the rest of the carriers up here being aggressive. The science facility goes down. More turrets being built. They need way, way more turrets though. Where did that other... Okay, we got more factories down at the bottom right here. Another carrier fallen. But I'm not sure how the AI is going to hit these island bases. They're going to need to rebuild their starport at some point here. Carrier's starting to venture out from bottom left as well. The human player's going to have to make this work with just the 2 corner bases. Trying to take out this mineral only. The AI just actually on 73 workers, so still a very, very healthy worker count. Mineral only falls. But really tons of supply still possible for them. How many Goliath? Like, where are the Goliaths? There's 11 of them. Which I think you actually need more to sort of deal with this. Now, the other carrier fleet hitting up here, this is where the armory was. So that armor gets taken out again, then, okay, there's already a second one being started up. Yeah, there's a lot of turrets here in this natural for the AI. Trying to rebuild a little bit of infrastructure here, but the carrier's just coming through trying to clean things up. I'd love to see them start to hit the supply depots and force the AI to sort of have to make those elsewhere as well. It's interesting, like, watching the minimap, there's so much moving around for the AI, but, like, if the Goliaths just aren't really together, they're, like, really, really spread out, not sure what they should be doing. Vultures running around the map, like, it's like looking at an anthill or something, down there in the bottom, like, one of those, anthill things that you can see inside through, like, the glass or what have you. Kind of like watching that, like all the little purple dots moving around. And as the depots are being taken out, the AI is actually rebuilding depots. These corner bases, you can fit a heck of a lot in them. I'm kind of surprised. And the human player has a lot of minerals. As long as they don't lose carriers, they can just replace these interceptors for days. The AI effectively just has the 2 mining bases now, just taking this natural down here, so... Carrier fleet has pretty much come together here. If the Goliaths could sort of like organize, and they're forcing the carriers back here now onto this high ground. Yeah, it's like the AI just can't quite get like a concentrated effort against the carriers. Like there's 19 Goliaths. The carriers are starting to fall because the AI is very good at targeting the weaker carriers, but like there's 15 Goliaths and I see like 3 of them. Now granted, there is a couple of carriers harassing over here. Getting back up with 2 new carriers. 3 are under production now. I actually feel like this is a little tough to say who's going to answer. The AI, though, is starting to run low on resources, and so with that, I'm thinking that the human player might win this in the end. If the AI is not really able... Okay, they're getting this base reestablished again. The carrier fleet's kind of all together, and only able to hit really 1 spot at a time. Now, if the bottom right gets hit, that's sort of the production epicenter for the AI right now. That's going to be a bit of a problem for it. It looks like that will be the next target for these carriers. These Goliaths really need to get in here and deal with these carriers, but they're still just very spread out. Like, I don't get why they're not concentrating on fighting the carriers. Like, if they just did that, they could just clean house, I feel like. What are the upgrades? Yeah, they're 330 Goliaths. Get them in the fight, man. Or get them in the fight AI, I guess, but it's like the human player is trying to get a other base established, realized that they're going to need more resources soon, as actually the corner bases are mined out. They're down to their last chunk of minerals. If this can be denied by the AI, this could be cutting it close. They're actually still have a healthy interceptor count, but This game is getting real close for both players. This mineral only now has been taken. Let's see, there was a 4,000 mineral bank for the human player, is now very quickly gone down to just 30 minerals. But they are going to get some money back. Like, they could just, actually, the AI could probably just charge with this army, kill this. And even though they're going to lose the units, like, it would still be worth it in the end, because you're still, you know, you're denying those resources, and the human player won't have resources from anywhere else. Meanwhile, trying to come back in to deal with this, there's not very many minerals there. Now this carrier force starting to try and come up, help out. We'll clean up that quick turret that was there. Some of the factories have been taken down, but yeah, there's just... Now there's starting to be too many Goliaths up here at the top. Interceptors trying to be built as quick as they can, but just don't have the resources, and carriers can only build one at a time, and now the carrier is starting to fall. This carrier fleet trying to get there as fast as they can. Yeah, being forced back, and if this Nexus falls, and there goes the Nexus, so the human player here does not have the resources to build the Nexus. This is sort of it. 39 interceptors. And there will be no more production unless the AI can find a way, or the human rather, can find a way to get some resources here. Trying to dive in on this mining base here now. But this mineral only still exists for the AI. More Goliaths under production, and as each interceptor falls, it can't be replaced right now. Going to have to mine with the shuttle, as that's the only way to get resources right now. But the AI is only able to make like 4 Goliath at a time. There are 20 Goliath. If they just came up here, like, they could crush this. Again, it's a matter of like the Goliath are just like randomly around the map instead of focusing on where the carriers are. Because it feels like the AI doesn't have anything. They do. Now the question is, do they spend these minerals? Okay, they are spending the minerals on interceptors. They have cleared some space here. And the human player is really forced to play defensively. I wonder if it is indeed the island bases that are like making the units just spread out like this. Carrier's getting a little bit brave here. Getting caught in open ground, a little bit surrounded. Just 3 minerals for the human player right now. If the Goliaths would just, like, focus in. Come on, AI. Another carrier falls. There's just 6 carriers on the map, one of which is up here, might not have any interceptors. Up, and now there's a Goliath up here. Got a shot up on that shuttle. Almost focused that shuttle down. Oh, if that shuttle had fallen, that would have been like all of the probes except for these guys down here. But there'd be no shuttle left. There's only one shuttle in the army. A little bit more mining able to be done here. Still 21 Goliaths though, like... I don't know if the AI is going to be able to expand again though, because the resource nodes that it's mining from are running pretty low here. We've got another Goliath starting. The Goliaths are starting to venture up there to where the carriers are. The human might pull this off. Because the trickle of Goliaths at this point is just... Okay, we've got long distance mining happening now. this interesting mining happening for the human player, which is letting them build up some resources. So right now they're trying to... They've only got 19 interceptors. If the Goliaths would just come up here... Ooh, that one carrier almost down. Looks like we're gonna get another Nexus here probably, and that might trigger the AI to sort of focus its army. Got a Nexus coming down now. The human player has stopped with the shuttle mining for now. Okay, another carrier falls. Just these 3 carriers. And here, okay, so I think the AI has discovered that there are buildings up on this main that it can reach, so it's going to go ahead and push its way up here. It's like, oh man, now the vultures get in there, get the probes, and the human player is going to tap out and give the AI the games. What a game with that shuttle mining there. And then the AI just kept just like spreading the army. But yeah, I mean, the tenacity of the human player almost brought them back, but not quite able to do it. That the AI will take another win and some MMR points.